Let's talk eight-man state championship. Mitch, I know you and I both had our eyes on this one.
Yep.
Amboy gets the win over Ridgewood in the I8FA State Championship game for 2023. The Clippers 74-22.
Hmm.
Mitch, it's one of the most impressive performances, especially when you talk about a state championship type stage. One of the
Yeah.
most impressive performances I think I've ever seen here from the Clippers. What a game. What a game for the Clippers.
Yeah. I mean, from opening kickoff, you kind of got that sense that this was going to be Amboy's night, and it seemed like when those first couple of punches came from Amboy, it just didn't look like Ridgewood was going to have it to be able to withstand that because they came in so fast and so often. Again, Amboy's been doing this all year. This was a close game in the regular season, but boy, whether they made adjustments or whatever they did, they were ready to roll from the jump on Friday night.
Yeah, I couldn't believe, the first few minutes of this game, Amboy led 14 to nothing before Ridgewood ever took an offensive snap. Amboy
Mhm.
took the opening kick. Landon Welchel had about a 50 some yard run into the red zone. They score on the next play. The
Yep.
ensuing kickoff is fumbled by Ridgewood. Amboy scoops it up and scoops it up. They end up scoring one play, two plays later.
Hmm.
It's in the blink of an eye, it's 14 nothing. And then another blink of the eye, and it's 28 or even more than that, 28-34 nothing. I mean,
Right.
it was so fast and so furious for this Clippers team. Credit to them. I mean, it's just such an impressive performance all the way around.
Yeah, I think this was their third time getting into the 70 points plus range on the year. So certainly a team that was capable of doing that, but kind of like you mentioned at the beginning, to do it in a state championship setting against a team like Ridgewood, who we were really impressed with, especially on defense, against a team that played Amboy close in the regular season. Yeah, this was just it was efficiency, really, because like you were saying, it was quick drives, it was quick scores. Eddie Jones was 3 of 4 passing for 97 yards and 3 touchdowns. They all went to Brennan Blaine. So he had 3 catches for 3 touchdowns. He also had a
That
rushing touchdown. So
I'd say that's
you,
pretty efficient. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, they really were impressive on both sides of the ball because certainly we know what their offense can do, but they completely shut down Ridgewood in this one too.
Yeah. I mean, just offense, defense, special teams. The Clippers were doing it, in all three phases. And it
Mhm.
just, again, I think what's so impressive, you kind of hit on it a little bit there, is that this was a very good Ridgewood team. Like to see this type of performance, sure, you see some lopsided games throughout the regular season. Certainly, Amboy's had those this year, but depending on the opponent, it doesn't always catch your eye. But this really caught my eye. I couldn't believe what I was watching because I've been so impressed with Ridgewood. It just,
Yeah,
and I don't want to keep piling on Ridgewood, but it
yeah, I know.
just really impressive game for Amboy here. Landon Welchel finished with 259 yards, 3 touchdowns on 10 carries. Quinn Leffelman rushed for 50 yards and a touchdown on 5 carries. So just it seemed like every opportunity, the line was creating some huge holes. And once those Amboy running backs got through that first level into the second level, they were usually able to outrun at least one or two Ridgewood defenders.
Yeah.
They were just hitting the holes and they knew what to do with it. They were, making guys miss, running past guys. Overall, just, impressive effort and a great way to cap off this kind of 2-year run where we saw Amboy here a year ago in the state championship game and they fell short to West Central. It seemed like, it was. We were eyeing them as the next state champion. And
Mhm.
I think there's some pressure that goes into that, right? I think they knew it. We were talking about it. Everybody was kind of talking about it, and they delivered. They didn't flinch all year long. They run the table
Yeah.
13-0. They get that state championship.
Yeah, it's credit to Coach Tyson Powers for having his team ready to go. And this team loses a handful of seniors, some big playmakers, but Eddie Jones comes back, Quinn Luffman comes back. Don't have the whole scope of what Amboy's going to look like next year, but regardless, like you mentioned, to come back from last season where they fell short and to have the season that they did, to have the playoff run that they did, and then to have this performance in the state championship game is a complete credit to the entire Amboy program and a job well done.
So Coach Powers is our friend on Twitter, but we should also give a shout out to the head coach, Scott Payne, who I don't think is on X.
Ah,
So,
yes. Yeah. Yep. I got them mixed up. That's my
but
fault. Sorry, Coach
no, no,
Payne. My
no,
fault.
no. But like I said, Coach Powers is our kind of connection on Twitter, so that's where we end up, thinking.
Yeah.
But yes, Scott as well. Congratulations to them. And Mitch, I saw a really cool story from Shaw local media from the out of the Sauk Valley area. Cody Cutter wrote an article about we say Amboy, but we mean the Amboy Lamoille, Ohio co-op. And
Mhm.
he pointed out in his article, this is the first state championship for any sport, for any athlete in Lamoille or Ohio's high school's histories. So a really cool, experience for those athletes. There are 9 players in total from both Lamoille High School and Ohio high schools. So really cool for them to be able to, be the first state champions to walk the halls in those high schools. Very
Yep.
small high schools. I think combined, both those high schools are under 100. So, I mean, we're
Wow.
talking around 50 enrollment for both high schools.
Yeah.
I think Lamoille is a little bit bigger than Ohio, but either way, just a really cool opportunity for these kids to be part of a state championship. And that's kind of what this 8-man division is all about, right? It's giving some of these
Mhm.
smaller high schools an opportunity to compete on a big stage.
Yeah. I don't know if we mentioned this, but it's at least Amboy's first state championship in football since 1984. But yeah, to bring that home for the first time for those two communities, yeah, it's a great thing for when you have a consolidation like that, and then especially certainly when you go from 11-man to 8-man, to have any sort of success is going to be special for those communities. So yeah, congrats to everyone in that long history of Clipper football for hanging in there. They've always been a great community, a great football town, great football towns, I should say. And you could tell from the crowd they were into it. They traveled well, and at least they got some warmer weather this year. It wasn't as cold as previous years have been. So yeah, congrats again to the entire Amboy Lamoille, Ohio football community.
Mitch, I saw one of the photos after the game, and man, I love in the I8FA, they still hold up a big old trophy. Have you seen the
Oh
uh
yeah,
the
oh
8-man
yeah.
trophy? It's
Hmm.
legit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a plaque, it's a big old trophy, and I love it. It feels very old school IHSA.
Wonder if they have to travel around to the three schools for that. Maybe it's just like.
I know. Well, like Cody's article just mentioned that like the trophy would probably be in Amboy, when it
Mhm.
would probably live in Amboy. But man, I do hope they do some kind of like, school assembly and carry that thing through the
Yeah.
hallways. You'd have to, right? I hope we see or hear about that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, let it reside in Lemoyne, Ohio for a little bit. Come on
Yeah.
now.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, Mitch, you talked about Amboy fans, community traveling well. On the opposite side, Ridgewood, that Ridgewood Spartan community really traveled well. I mean, throughout the playoffs, also. Like
Mhm.
they had a great showing in Martinsville the week before in the semifinals. A great showing here nearby in Monmouth. It was really great for to see that place packed on both sides. It didn't go the way they wanted it to, but man, one night, one game does not define a season. And
Right.
Coach Elder tweeted that out, something to that effect on Saturday morning or Friday night, and just really great to see, to keep that perspective and know that this has been a program that's been building themselves, and to get to this game, forget the outcome. To get there, there's very few student athletes that can say they played in a state championship football game, even to get there. So
Yeah.
great on them, for being there, for making that run.
Well, and only in their second season in 8-man, so quick success for the Spartans here, and probably sustained as well with the type of program that they have.
Yeah. Ridgewood's Riley Couture threw a pair of late touchdowns in this one to Preston Moriarty, two seniors on that Spartans team that have really led the way, and really been, constant names that we've said week in and week out.
Yep.
Congratulations to them and to all the seniors on kind of leaving your mark. I mean, this same as Amboy, this Cambridge program, when they were the Cambridge Vikings, they went to a state championship game, I believe, in '05, and were a really good team in the Lincoln Trail Conference there for a few years. Really great program. And now that they've consolidated or co-opt here this is, getting to a state championship game is another high watermark for this program. And so congratulations to Coach Elder. I know that we also had Coach Elder, the other Coach Elder, your namesake,
Yeah,
Mitch Elder. He was also
great.
listening in on Friday night to our episode. And we, corresponded back and forth a little bit Friday night. And he really appreciated our coverage. And I, thanked him for a great season. And I've talked to Coach Pat Elder throughout the season as well. I know he really appreciates our coverage. So I just want to give a shout out to them and, congratulate them on a great season and a great effort here. And I'm excited to see what's next for them. You look at Amboy, and Amboy fell short, and the next year they were state champions. Where does that leave Ridgewood? I don't know, because Amboy's going to be good again next year, but I think this Ridgewood program is not going anywhere. They put themselves on the map. They're going to be here.
Yep. And go back to the Friday night. If you haven't listened to that, you can find on our feed the instant reacts from that. Shout out to Kyle Kampmeyer for hopping in there. I wasn't able to join on Friday night, but shout out to Kyle who joined from the car and coming from that game. So if you want to hear more from that game, more than we just listened to just now, you can jump back and listen to that instant reacts from Friday.
Yep. Good plug there, Mitch. The instant reacts for the state championship game is available on Twitter. It was we were live on Spaces. So forgive some of the audio, some of the technical issues. I don't know. I don't think my microphone sounded very good throughout. And Kyle,
it's a weird thing to like start it and then add somebody. It's
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. And Kyle was leaving Monmouth, so his coverage was
body going through those back
coverage was a little spotty there, but we made it work. So anyway, it was great conversation. That's the important part. Is great content. Kyle was bringing all the good content there as he took in the 8-man state championship game.
A lot of listeners too.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, we had a lot of people listening in and out live while we were recording. So that's a lot of fun. That's where I saw, Coach Elder listening in. So that was a lot of fun to see people listening in. So, well, once again, congratulations to the Amboy Clippers. They've been a fun team to cover this year and going back to last year. They followed through. The expectations were there and they delivered for sure with an exclamation point here in the state championship game. They're your 8-man state champions for 2023.